give you guys an update for the weekend. So Sunday, I was driving around. Well, no, it was Saturday night or Friday night. I don't remember. I sent a picture of the group of a sign that said auctions, and it's auction, and they were selling Picasso's, Andy Warhol's, Rolex. That's obviously the one that caught my attention, and it said Patek Philippe's and so forth. And it said public auction, everything must go. Cause they made it sound like it was all liquidation stuff. And of course, it was a street sign just thrown into the ground, with 2 metal wires. Yeah. So I was like, hell, I'm not doing anything. So Sunday comes along, I'm not doing much. And I decide, let me go to this auction. I got nothing else to do. I know it's probably a waste of time. Ended up being absolute gold. I wish I could have filmed this. Like, what was going on there was nothing short of comical. I was appalled by what I was seeing. And people, let me just put it this way. The first piece that came out, the first watch, was a Cartier bust down. And they said all factory, all original Cartier bust down. It was a lady's Cartier. It sold for $125. Oh, this guy right here. Hold on. This is actually great. This guy was there. He's calling me right now, and he bought a watch. Listen to this. Hello?
Hey, Marco.
Is this part 3?
Oh, you do not want to know what just happened.
No. Check this out. So right now, I'm actually explaining on camera what happened. We're actually on camera right now. It's just full disclosure. And I was just about to get into your story, and you just called. Like, that's so funny.
I just got a call. I've been calling the owner last night, or yesterday, trying to get some more updates on what's going to happen.
Sure.
So last night, he told me, he said something stupid as shit. He said, why don't you let me hold on to your $20,000, and when I come back in a couple of months, I'll find you something else. Or if you want to bring Marco, I'll let you guys go through all the jewelry and pick up something you want. Wow. So I said,
well, let's do this. Let's do this real quick. Let's just... Because here's the thing. Right now, the viewers aren't going to understand what's going on. So, speed it up. Okay. All right. I was telling them how... You weren't there when the ladies' Cartier sold, right? For $125,000?
Yes.
So, yeah, ladies' bust-down Cartier sold. So, fast forward. The guy on the phone right now, just to speed you guys up, bought a Patek Philippe bust-down aftermarket case, aftermarket... bracelet and all, just a bust down piece. Our typical wholesale price on that is around $40,000. So he bought it because at the auction they said factory set, and they kept saying factory set Patek Philippe, all original. And I heard them, and I was just looking around the room like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, I inspected this watch, clear as day aftermarket. The only thing original about the watch was the movement. He was in the back. He wasn't with me. He met me after the fact, after the purchase, and he bought the watch for $80,000, left with a $20,000 deposit. So we've been, trying to unwind this whole thing. So fast forward to what you're saying. So now they're saying that they want to hold on to your $20,000, try to push you into something else. And you remember that emerald necklace that sold for $14,000-15,000? Mm-hmm. So the guy was sitting directly behind me. That guy reached out to me as well, was like, hey, I know you guys have a lot of connections in the industry and in the jewelry world. I was like, yeah, he's like, can you, I was like, I'd like to sell this emerald necklace for $35,000. I was like, well, you want it for 15? He's like, well, it appraises at 90. I was like, well, that doesn't mean much. I was like, but I'll tell you what, I'll show it to a few guys I know that are big emerald guys, and they'll tell me what's up. So, man, it's just like all I keep doing is breaking the news to all these people that are winning this crap. It's just really
You're
bad.
You're gonna have to break it to more news, because who called me right now? I'm kind of frustrated because I thought I left on good terms with the owner.
Yeah.
I got a call right now from his attorney.
Oh boy.
And it gets better than this. So the attorney called me. No offense, this attorney looks like a moron. He sounds like a moron.
Mm-hmm.
He has no idea what the hell he's talking about, and he's telling me, my client wants to pursue legal action against you.
After they have your money?
I spoke to multiple attorneys last night, and whenever you and I spoke about it, and they all informed me that I could go after him for the full value of what was promised at the auction. So even though
Wait, what part was promised? The $80,000 or the fact that they said the watch appraised at $400,000?
400. So they said I can go after that full $400,000.
You should, man. I mean, that's absolutely bullshit. I mean, keep in mind, and I'll be a witness on the stand in a heartbeat because I was there when they said the watch was all factory original. I don't have a problem with that.
So this is where they kind of went on a personal level. So they said, you mentioned Timepiece Gentleman as the ones that were reviewing the watch. I said, I don't know what this has to do with anything. He goes, he pulled up Anthony's name. He said, well, based on our research, we found out that Anthony, who was the co-owner of Timepiece, went to jail and some $5 million blah, blah, blah. Which I said, what does that have any bearing to do on the case?
You didn't know you can't be a watch expert if you've been to jail?
I told myself, what bearing does that have on this case? I don't care what somebody else did or anything. They're watch experts, and I told them, I said, I did it in front of your client. Anthony,
I'm the in-house watch expert here. I'm the one who looks at everything that comes in. I'm the one who authenticates everything that comes in. This is my job. So, I mean, they don't even need to bring Anthony's name because I own the company as equally as Anthony does. So, I mean,
they don't want to mention your name.
Of course not, because I'm the guy with I'm the guy they need to worry about. So,
I know.
That's fine.
Bringing this up, this has no bearing on the case that we are talking about.
Yeah, they're gonna try to say.
Very nice to him about it, but he seemed, my client was trying to give you opportunities to acquire different pieces of jewelry, this and that. I told them, you know what, I'm going to keep it simple.
They just do everything. It's just worthless. It's just worthless junk. That's all they say. It's just worthless junk. Everything they have is junk. I mean, I went through everything and it's just like crap.
I'm just going to open up claims on each item, so it wouldn't be worth it. So I'm going to keep this very short and sweet with you. I'm going to go ahead and, pursue legal action. To be honest, I don't give a shit about 20 grand. But 400 grand kind of excites me.
Yeah, hell yeah. They're misleading the public. I mean, they're putting signs all over town telling people to come to these auctions, and then people are trusting the fact that everything that they're going to get from these auctions is legitimate based on their appraisals, which is building trust to the buyer. And then when the buyer gets it and brings it to me or somebody who actually knows what the hell they're doing, we're the guys have to say, well, no, you know what? This is not at all what it is. And an appraisal is just for insurance purposes, which fair enough, they said that. But the appraisal amounts are just ridiculously inflated. And they're making people think, well, I got a great deal by buying this watch at $80,000 when it appraised at $400, and they keep putting that in people's mind that that's what they're getting. And then at the end of the day, first of all, a watch that you got is not factory by any means. The movement came out of a Calatrava as we saw, and then everything else is just material at that point. You're just paying. Yeah, you're paying.
Marco, the attorney's calling me back again. Do you want me to merge you and you guys want to listen in, or?
Yeah, merge it in.
Okay, just mute so he doesn't know you're in the background. Oh, he hung up. Hold on 1 second.
This is good, bro.
I don't give a shit about 20,000, but 400 kind of excites me. I'm like, damn right it does.
Bro, what the fuck? It's not just him, dude.
Yeah,
there was a guy who won a bust down AP offshore, 125,000. Keep in mind, there's still a 15% premium and sales tax they're charging before you walk out the door, and they will not let you walk out the door without paying a deposit, a big deposit. They're not collecting $1,000. They're collecting like a percentage of it. Yeah. And then there's these jewelry that they're selling. It's just going through the roof.
That's how they're making money.
Bro, these people are.
Yes. He hung up.
I don't know. Maybe lawyers may have a way to tell if they're being recorded, or not recorded, but they may know that there's a third line. Just text them or call them later or whatever. If you need to talk to them, that's fine. We can talk later. We're just doing some.
No. I'm gonna finish this with you. So basically, he was trying to do this intimidation tactic with me, and to be honest with you, I really don't give a shit at this point. So I'm gonna pursue legal action. The only thing is I need to find the best attorney that will specialize in this. To be honest with you, if you can reach out to any of the other people that you met at the auction.
Yeah, maybe we can do a class action.
What's that?
They need a class action lawsuit because this is just consumer fraud.
You did simple math, they made a couple million that night.
This is just consumer fraud, like leading people on. Now, obviously, some stuff is just look. at the end of the day, I'm not gonna lie. Some of the stuff is just at fault of the consumers. Like on jewelry, it's a lot tougher because it's so subjective. On watches, it's a little easier to go after because when they sit there and say a watch is factory original, that's the problem. Because when you go on Patek's website and you can find, a Patek bust down, it looks kind of similar. You don't know the difference between that and the one you're getting in your hands, and you're trusting the fact that they're saying, oh, this is original, and it appraises at 400,000, and then you go on Chrono 24, and sure enough, like you're seeing them for that close to that price, maybe more, because you're thinking you got a deal at an auction, and then turns out you just have aftermarket junk that comes off the street at 40 grand. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like,
Yeah, and the thing is, I have them on video. I mean, it was very smart of you to, inform me, and I was honestly just surprised you answered my phone call, and you told me, hey, go back and record it. And on camera, while he had his 5 security guards literally like hovering over me, says everything is, authentic, which to be honest, I didn't even ask him. I think he was just trying to, make the whole thing look like everything is going to solidify since he has security. He was giving out free champagne and everything, so it makes it look more valid. But, hey, he gave me the information I wanted, which was stating that it was no aftermarket, none of that.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I was there. I mean, I have many witnesses that I can call and say the same thing. We all heard it. I mean, he all said factory original, Patek 5711 bust down or whatever, iced out, factory set, stones. I was like, what? I just looked around the room. I was like, are you kidding me right now? Like, are you, what? And then they started the auction at like $10,000. It's like, this is so shady. This is so shady. It's just...
All right, hold on. He's calling again.
All right. Okay, here's the problem. I think in the state of Texas, if you record somebody without their consent, it doesn't hold up. It's more so to really just kind of like warn others. I mean, like I said, you can sue on a lot more things other than what you have recorded. Now, you can show it to an attorney and see what he says. I'll call my attorney and see what he says. As far as like this case, I don't know what type of attorney handles this kind of stuff, but of course, we can go off recommendations, and I'm sure there's an attorney out there specifically for this type of, consumer fraud, right? Because that's basically what this turns into. Is
consumer fraud, and I thought you'd be the best to know about this because I'm pretty sure you guys have attorneys for Timepiece.
Our attorneys are mostly business attorneys that deal with like, contract agreements and so forth. They don't specifically deal with anything watch related because, like, one, we're not out there scamming anybody, and if we ever sold a watch to anybody that wasn't right, then we just immediately refund. We don't even play that. We don't even let it get to that point. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's why we don't really have those type of attorneys all the time, because that would just be shady. Like, why do you need that type of attorney all the time? Like, what are you hiding? But they clearly are selling watches and misrepresenting them. I've seen 2 in that one night that were just immediately misrepresented. And they were selling those like bust down ladies. They didn't say those were factory, obviously, because they know they're not. And they did say aftermarket, but still sold for like $45,000. I was just like, what in the hell, is going on with these people? But regardless, I will make a few phone calls for you and see what I can dig up.
The attorney's really pissing me off. He's trying to be a smart ass, and to be honest with you, I know what this guy's doing. He's just trying to shake me down, like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll pay him. So I'm at this point, I just want to, speak to an attorney because he asked me, hey, send me that footage right now, and I said no. And every time I tried to connect you, you were right. Every time I tried to connect you, it hung up. So I guess he has probably something that hangs up automatically whenever the call gets merged.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but it's fine.
Every time I clicked merge, it was disconnect.
Huh.
So that's where I was like, okay, this guy, But the thing is, how many people do you know that right now that want to pursue anything against this guy? Do you have any other?
Just you. I mean, the other guy that bought the emerald. I mean, I'm just gonna tell you right now, like, he's going to have no ground to stand on because it's jewelry. And like I said, that's too subjective. I mean, unless the emeralds were just straight up fake, That's the only, but I don't think they are. They're probably just really crappy quality because, like, from what I sent to my guys, they were just coming back at like, yeah, that's a $35,000 to $5,000 piece. Should retail in the neighborhood of 8,000 to 10,000. Now he paid 15,000, thinking it was going to sell for the neighborhood of 30,000, but in fact, he paid 15, and he's lucky to get back maybe 70% of that, 60%. So I don't think he's gonna have much ground to stand on. It's mostly watches because, like, in the watch world, when you say something is factory, your intention is to say this is all original from that factory, like it left the factory this way. That's kind of the perception that he led everybody on during that auction. So when people were bidding it up, you know, of course they're gonna be like hoping to get a factory set 5711 or whatever that is. You know, I think it's the 5719.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a 5719, which he never even used reference numbers. He just said factory set Patek Philippe watch. So
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure that was, you know, smart on his end not to say reference numbers because now it's all open to
But the thing is, at that factory setting, the only thing is how am I going to prove that he said factory setting when the fact I can't use the footage? The footage, the only place that I have him saying is all factory.
Yeah, that's gonna be the tough part. Let me call my attorney. Let me see what he says. This is really interesting. So I will let you know what he says. Of course, you know, you read their terms and conditions, right?
No, I did not, to be honest with you.
Oh my! Well, I took a jab at him, and it basically made it sound like even if we misrepresent it, it's still on you to like blah blah blah, and it's just like, okay, dude, like it's like you said earlier, it looks like it's all legal Zoom crap that they just put together real quick because you can't protect yourself against defrauding people. Like it's not, you can't just write it in a contract that basically says, if we just happen to defraud you, that's on you. Like, no. Like you're the auction house, you're the experts, you're the guys putting appraisals behind this stuff. Like that's on you, not me. So yeah. So let me call my attorney and I'll get back with you today.
Thanks so much, Marco.
Absolutely.
This is Tyler.
Oh, I was about to hang up. You sound like a voicemail. I have a question for you. I've got a client who went to an auction that he's really not a client. He's somebody that bought a watch at a place that I happen to be at, but this whole thing screams consumer fraud because it's an auction house that travels around the country and they post little signs all over the city that says they have Picassos, Ferraris, and whatever, you know what I mean? And he bought a watch, and I was there, and I was just laughing because I was like, what the hell? But he bought a watch, a Patek Philippe, that they were announcing as factory original during the auction, saying it's original, and it wasn't. And he bought it thinking, you know, for like 80 grand, thinking it was factory, and indeed it's only worth like maybe at the most $40,000, you know, just because of the material.
Oh shit. Okay. Where did this happen?
It happened in Dallas at an auction house. It's not actually at an auction house. They just rent like a ballroom at like a hotel, and they just host their auction there. They bring art, they bring jewelry, they bring watches. They had a car downstairs.
I would probably need to know a little bit more about like the process of the auction. Like, how did he register? Does he have any documents where he registered to bid? Is it like a live auction?
Yeah, it's live. Like you bid right then and there, and then when you win, they collect payment or they collect deposit, and then they you know, the thing is, like, they are really quick to take your money, like right then and there, and then whenever you later on get the merchandise, it's only then discovered that it's far less valuable than what they led to believe. And obviously, like, you know, they're kind of like sneaky about it, right? Like they say, oh, the appraisal's this amount, but you know, this is what, you know, this is where we see it going for. But at the end of the day, like, the misleading part is saying it's factory when it's not even factory. Like, the only real thing about the watch is just the movement, and the movement is not even from the same watch they're representing. It's from a totally different model housed into another case and bracelet. That's just all material. That's it. There's no factory parts.
Yeah, so it's definitely at least negligent misrepresentation. On top of that, it's probably a TDLR and an FTC issue, depending upon whether they're actually operating under an auctioneer license. But yeah, they can pretty much be screwed to the wall. What's the name of the auction house?
I can find out. I don't want to say it on camera per se, just because I don't want any backlash from all this crap. But I'm just kind of giving people a lot of strong context clues as to how not to go about these auction houses.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's at least negligent misrepresentation. Probably based on what you're saying, like, I'm gathering that you could tell that it was not factory.
I inspected the watch closely. Like, I looked at it, and as soon as I picked it up, I was like, oh, aftermarket 5711 iced out with the Calatrava movement. Like, that's typically what we see. They trade for like $40,000. You know, if retailers want to sell them for $80,000, that's totally fine and acceptable. However, typically they're represented as such. They're aftermarket case and bracelet with a Patek movement. You know, you get a $400,000 or $500,000 look, sure, $80,000 to a retail, all right, that's fair as long as they're getting told. But this auctioneer specifically stated that the watch was factory, and there's nothing factory about the watch but the movement. I mean, it's no different than taking a Rolex movement and putting it into a fake Chinese case and saying it's factory. It's not. The watch becomes fake at that point.
And the fact that you could tell so easily, I mean, obviously you're an expert, but the so where we would really want to get them for this is like, what makes it really easy is the FTC and the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation.
Yeah.
They have like automatic sanctions and things in place where if we were trying to, you know, say get them to refund us or do something for us, it's pretty easy in these types of situations if they are licensed, just to say, hey, look, you either make this right or we report it and you know, are sanctioned or potentially lose your license.
Right.
So there's definitely some things that can be done here.
Now, hear me out. I mean,
as far as like the extra drop in the bucket, to get past negligent misrepresentation, if we could prove that, you know, an auction house that specializes in these types of goods was so easily, like, that it was kind of obvious that it wasn't what they were saying it was,
right.
Then we can actually get it past just negligent misrepresentation to actual fraudulent misrepresentation,
right.
which is really serious.
Right.
And that kind of stuff carries like punitive damages, which means they're basically going to, if this were to come before a judge, the judge would, in the amount awarded, penalize the auction house for this if it were to be found actual, you know, fraudulent misrepresentation.
Yeah, because I told them, you know what, if you collect the watch and took it to Patek Philippe, first of all, Patek Philippe would 100% say this watch is fake. It's not even original. They would use the word fake, non-original at all. I mean, basically, when at that point, you know what I mean, then now this guy just sold you a $400,000 watch that's fake. You know what I mean? That you got for $80,000, but appraised it at $400,000, and somebody else told them like, oh, you could go for the $400,000 for punitive damages.
Yep.
So
That's my opinion as well.